Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA.
Selling a little or a lot? Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your own online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage? Shopify's there to help you grow. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout. 36% better on average compared to the other leading commerce platforms. Because businesses that grow, grow with Shopify. Get a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/promo. Shopify.com/promo.
Hi, I'm Nicole Goodman.
And I'm Lauren Mishkon. Every Tuesday, we trial a different self-care practice and report back to you on the results.
And on Friday, we are back to explore more from the world of wellness with the latest news, interviews, feedback from our wonderful listeners, and our challenge of the week.
Welcome back to Self-Care Club, the Epilogue Show. Hi, and welcome to Friday's Epilogue Show, where we're taking a deeper dive into this week's practice of active listening. But first...
Review of the week.
We have got a lovely review from Sarah, aka the Wholesome Hound. Now, she comes up on our Instagram a lot.
She does.
The Wholesome Hound, it's lovely to know that your name is Sarah. And thank you for this review.
And who is the Wholesome Hound? Is that your dog? And if so, what's their name? I want to know.
I thought you were asking me.
No, I'm not asking you. I'm
fucking
asking
know.
Sarah.
Oh, Sarah.
I want all the info.
Okay, so Sarah says, I love this podcast. I was weirdly introduced to it by my husband.
Oh, hello.
That is-
Fifth man.
It's not Gary, is it?
Gary, when shall we marry?
Do you remember Gary?
I do.
After he heard an ad for the Moon Cup episode and knew that I was trying one out.
Oh my God, I love your husband, Sarah, already.
Gary,
I've made up his name. If my husband heard anything about a moon cup, he would find some cotton wool and plug his ears so he did not have to hear the words period or moon cup. He certainly wouldn't say to me, hey, guess what? There's an episode on moon cups.
He is lucky, your husband, that he had boys.
He really is.
Because just yesterday, Adam picked up a Moon Cup. It was in a packet.
Yeah.
Did
Did he think it was a wine decanter?
for Daisy?
Yeah.
And he's like, what is this? And he looked at me and went, oh, and just rolled his eyes and put it back down.
He knew what it was.
He's surrounded by menstrual cups.
Oh God, he really
It's a house full of
is.
women.
Wow.
Anyway,
Yes.
Sarah says, I spend a fortune on self-care products. Some describe me as a marketeer's dream. I'm the same, Sarah. So I love the fact that these ladies break it all down for us. In lockdown, when we were socially cut off, I came to think of Lauren and Nicole as pals and have continued to do so. That's so sweet. We are of a similar age and I love the fact that they are honest, have differing opinions and ideas, but a lovely respect for each other, all of which I'm lucky to have with my girlfriends. Nicole and Lauren, you make my week every Tuesday and Friday. I'm still face rolling, drinking the matcha and cold showering many months down the line. Please keep up the amazing work on the podcast. Sarah, you are doing so much more than Lauren.
Wow. Sarah, why are you doing all the awful things?
She's not.
Drinking the yucky matcha and having the horrible cold showers? Sarah, pick some nice things to do.
Maybe she likes matcha. She obviously likes it.
I saw it the other day in my tea cupboard.
Yeah.
And sort of
You didn't finish the
slightly
pot?
gagged at it. No, I didn't finish, despite putting it in every food item for a week.
I'm currently drinking green tea.
You are.
It's not quite matcha, but I'm still drinking it.
Thank you, Sarah.
I'm also face rolling and I do the odd cold shower.
I do neither of those things.
She does nothing. Nothing.
But look how healthy I am.
It's so fucking annoying.
# peak health. Any emails in this week?
One in from Anonymous. I thought I'm going to write you what happened one day as it was a beautiful parenting experience thanks to the podcast.
Wow.
So, she says, I was catching up with the pod and listened to the interview with Nancy Levin about boundaries. Oh, that's a great episode. Literally paused what I had done to take notes. It was incredibly clearly articulated. Loved it. 3 exclamation marks.
Thank you.
On the same day, later on, my 10-year-old daughter came to me and opened up about trying not to hurt others' feelings, even if it hurts hers, aka boundaries. People pleasing rang the alarms inside me. Probably you can imagine how I felt in that moment, like an arrow in my heart, but also feeling armed thanks to your podcast and Nancy's advice. Nancy was Such
Brilliant.
a rock star on that. So, long story in short, we had a heartwarming, loving mum to daughter conversation. Tried to keep it age appropriate. I think we both grew that day. Parenting is difficult. Yes, it is. And I realised again how important it is to be an authentic model for our children in all sense, but in setting and holding boundaries too. Thank you, girls, for your work. I really appreciate it, especially that you touch so many topics in a hilarious, funny and honest way. I'm glad I found you.
Oh, what a lovely email.
Isn't it?
I'm really happy that we helped you.
Right, now before we get on to the practice of the week,
Yes.
can we talk about the clinic?
Yes.
Because we've had a very, very, very big week at the club.
Massive.
Yes, we've gone daily.
We are now in your ears
Every
every
day.
single morning.
Every day or evening, doesn't matter.
I like to think they wake up to us.
Don't be time shaming about when they listen to the podcast. They can listen to it whenever they like.
Okay, listen whenever you want.
Listen whenever you want. But just to clarify, we are in your ears every day. It is only a 5-minute episode. And the lovely thing, we're calling it the clinic because we hear from you guys and what questions you have. So please get your questions into us
Yes.
if you want to be part of the clinic.
So let's just clarify. Our main show, The Big Un, it's moved to a Monday now. So don't be sad on a Tuesday when it's not there. It's still there. It's on a Monday. So Monday's the main show. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, clinic. Friday, epilogue, as usual. Saturday, Sunday, we're even in your ears on the weekend.
Yeah,
But we need your questions.
we do.
We want to solve all of your self-care woes.
And we're going to bring experts into the clinic,
Yep.
aren't we? We've got
Yep.
our resident Kate therapist who's sat here now. We're going to hear from her in a minute.
Yep.
She's going to come on and answer some of your questions. We're going to have a sex therapist coming on. We're going to have a nutritionist coming on. We're going to have a sleep expert. Like the clinic is going to be massive,
Huge.
but we need you guys to be a part of it.
So bung us your questions.
Now you can send them in via email, hello@theselfcareclub.co.uk, or you can send them to us on Instagram @selfcareclubpod. You can DM us, or you can also leave voice notes. We like a voice note.
Oh, I love a voice note.
But a lot of the people that have sent them in didn't seem so keen on the voice notes, but we do love them because it's nice to hear your voice at the clinic.
Absolutely.
So either way, but just get in touch.
Yes.
So,
So
how are you feeling since our week of active listening?
I actually think I am getting better at it the more I practice it.
Yeah, it's like a
The
muscle.
Yes.
Yes.
And you know, I had 2 births this week. So I've been doing a lot of listening.
But I would assume that you do active listening in your births anyway, that you didn't need the week of active listening to introduce that to your work.
But it's harnessed my
Ooh,
skills.
nice word.
So I feel like it's a strengthening muscle.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. How's your week been?
Yeah, same. I haven't done the births.
Oh
But
no, that
again,
would be worrying.
Strengthening the muscle. Now, I have found a couple of things where, I'm going to ask Kate in a second. But I did have an interesting chat with my husband who'd had a really difficult day at work and he was feeling a little bit sorry for himself. And I just actively listened. I also did another practice that we're doing next week, but I'll tell you about that at another time. And on Saturday night, we were out with friends and they asked us, they said, do you ever try your practices out on Adam? And I said, all the time.
Yeah.
And he looked really confused. And he was like, well, when are you trying them out on me? I said, I did it yesterday.
Yeah.
When you were telling me about work, I actively listened to you. Did you not notice? Did you not feel heard? And he said, to be honest, you always listen to me that way.
Good.
I thought that was very sweet.
That's
And I
good
was-
feedback.
Quite surprised.
That's very good feedback.
Thank you. I thought so.
Nice.
Now, Kate, before we get on to what the listeners had to say, let's bring Kate in.
Hello.
Hello, Kate.
Welcome back.
Welcome to the club.
Hello, lovely clubbers.
Thank you for our guidance on the main show.
It was
Yes.
quite long and intricate, wasn't it? I liked the Hoover suggestion
Yes. I also liked the Hoover challenge.
because it was quick and it was succinct
Yeah.
Yes.
and clear.
So what we want to know is, how do you... I mean, we've never done this before, okay? We've never asked anyone to come back and grade us on our work.
Well, I didn't. You did.
I did. So how, in your opinion, do you feel that Nicole and I got on with our week of active listening? Did we take the advice? Did we utilise it? And what are our grades?
I think you both really utilised it. I
you.
think that the fact that you thought about it with your son was lovely. That was lovely to
lovely.
hear. It really was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And just the fact that you were aware that he was trying to talk, and instead of kind of being like, well, I'm busy, I'm on the phone. And then what tends to happen is you feel guilty, and then you feel resentment. So you go, oh, go away, I'm busy, or whatever. That comes out, and that's usually through guilt. But actually what you did is go, okay, I can't listen now, but I can listen in a minute. Give me a minute and I'll be there for you. And you did it, and you had a nice chat. And it meant that he actually came in from hovering at the door.
I loved that bit.
Wasn't it
He sat on the
lovely?
bed.
He did.
Absolutely.
I have
lovely.
found that he has been a little bit more present this week. And I wonder if it's because he feels I'm a little bit more present.
I think it's difficult with teenagers, isn't it? Because you feel that they're so disinterested in us, and therefore,
As they should be.
Yes, they should be. That's their job. But I think we have to be like the rock that's always there, that's stable. That no matter how much they're off, flying away from the nest, we have to be the constant in their life, and so that when they are ready, and it's usually at the most inopportune time. It's usually when
Always.
you're absolutely shattered and want to go to bed, they suddenly tell you about the girlfriend, boyfriend that they're unhappy with, or something's going on, and it's so important.
Yeah.
And you just have to go, okay, I'm so knackered, but this is really, really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I have the opposite. My daughter is always talking to me, always telling me everything. I think that's the difference between boys and girls.
But she's 11, right?
She's 14.
Oh, sorry.
My
Have you got 11-year-old
I
as
do.
well?
I do. She tells me nothing.
Oh.
Nothing, which is interesting. So that's going to be...
She will.
I don't think she will. And I think that's going to be harder to parent because I don't know what I'm dealing with. With Daisy, I know every thought that goes through her head, sometimes too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
And something that has come up for me, and it's not an easy thing to admit, but I'm going to assume that it's going to come up for other listeners. I have found that sometimes I'm doing active listening and I have come away feeling quite depleted.
Yes. I heard you say that on the main show.
Yes.
That what happens if you... Well, I think that there are times when you choose to actively listen and times when you are just being a friend. And that I don't think active listening should happen all the time. I don't think it's a practice that you need to do all day, every day with all of your relationships. Because sometimes you want to just go, oh, yeah, that happened to me. And when my husband did that, I felt this. What did you feel?
Yeah.
It might add a different flavour or a different ingredient to those conversations. So you're not saying, I felt like this, but you're also adding, how did you feel? Did you feel differently? You're open to that kind of option. But I don't think it should happen all day, every day, because then you're just going to, like you said, feel that you're doing all the listening in a very important and active way. And what are you getting back? And also, that there are certain people in your life that you won't get that back from.
Yep.
And therefore, why should you spend that energy and that concentration? Because it does take a different level of concentration.
It really does. And energy, a different level of energy. I was in my hair salon on Saturday and I had 2 clients back to back that were just having a really rough time. And I mean, really rough time. Like one of them and I've known this woman for years and she just lost her husband and it's the first time I've seen her. So she was obviously very emotional. And another one, her daughter's not doing so good. And so it was 2 hours of heavy stuff, which is fine. I'm trained to deal with that. But then my last client came in after and he's very lighthearted and he's very funny and we always have a very just stupid conversation. And he was such a relief because he shifted the energy for me.
Yeah.
I was really pleased to see him.
Yeah. I think also if you've had that couple of hours like that, if your other client hadn't come in that lifted the mood, just be aware of it. It's like I said last time, take your emotional temperature. So when you go home and you're thinking, what am I going to make for dinner? There might be a difference between, oh, tonight I'm doing beef stroganoff or, oh, we're having fish finger wraps.
Yeah. Oh, love fish finger wraps.
so
I
do
also
I.
love a fish finger
I don't
wrap.
think I've ever had one, but now I
Oh
want
my
one for
God.
lunch.
Right, it's fish fingers. It's tartar
And
sauce.
shredded lettuce.
Yes,
Yes.
and or rocket.
Yes.
And gherkins.
And mayo,
It's the best.
obviously.
No,
Well, no,
because
you've got
tartar
tartar.
does
Oh,
that.
the tartar.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
It's
It's
really good.
Leon's, isn't it? Originally, I think it's a
Yes,
Leon's
I think
thing.
you're right.
Yummy.
You heard it here first.
Yes, we're advertising. Leon, send free food.
Yeah, nice.
They won't.
Thank you for that, Kate. That's actually really helpful.
Yeah.
Should we hear what the listeners had to say?
Yes.
So, I asked on Instagram, are you an active listener? Now, I did a different kind of poll.
I saw it was a very complicated little poll you did there.
It was a questionnaire because there weren't yes or no. It wasn't a yes or no situation. It's yes, or sometimes I'm an active listener, or no, I'm too busy thinking of what I should respond, or what's active listening. There were too many options.
Factors,
Yeah. So 39 people said, yes, I am always an active listener.
Okay. Good.
Not sure how much I buy into that, but okay.
I don't think it's necessarily useful to always be an active
It
listener.
must be really tiring.
Because, yeah, exactly. It does take a different energy.
Yeah. 70 people said sometimes, which I think is probably quite honest. 22 people said, no, I'm too busy thinking of what to respond.
Well, thank you for your honesty.
I think that's very honest.
I think when I first learnt how to actively listen, which was when I was training to be a therapist, actually it gave me such a relief.
Why?
Because I thought I don't have to fix them.
Oh, yes.
The reason that I went into therapy was because I was working with children, and children used to tell me their problems and tell me what was going on for them. And I thought, I really want to help them. What I really want to do is swoop them up, take them all home and foster them. I know, I just did. But I knew that I didn't have the tools required to help them. And then when I learned, actually, you don't have to listen. You do have to listen. You don't have to fix the problem. Actually, it was a tremendous relief for me because I thought it was all about finding a solution. And it's the listening that is the most healing. Because what do we want as human beings? We are pack animals and we want to be seen and we want to be heard.
Every single human being in the world wants that.
Yes, and sometimes they defend against it by, being an isolationist because it's too painful to want the thing that perhaps they've never had.
That's true.
I did want to comment actually on both of your responses to what makes it difficult, where you said if somebody's victimy or self-pitying, and you said something similar about if it was the same thing. What you were both saying, it was the same thing. And I think it's because neither of you allow yourself to access that part of yourself where you feel sorry for yourself.
We're literally having therapy now.
But I'm all right with that.
I'm not.
No, I'm not the therapy. I am all right with the therapy, but I'm also all right with not allowing myself to feel sorry for myself.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Kate?
Yeah. No.
Kate's
Listen,
looking at us
do you
like
know
you
the
need an hour a week
interesting
in my room.
Can I go back to something that happened on the what was it? Positive.
Assuming good intent.
Assuming good intent. Can I talk to you about
Please.
that day where
I'm scared.
your
Yeah, go on.
husband had come home from work?
Oh.
That was the
No, he hadn't come
awfulest-
home from work.
No, he'd been away, hadn't he?
He'd been away.
And he'd come home and he was resting for the day
Yes.
because he was exhausted.
Yes.
And Nicole was overburdened in her
Yes.
salon all day. And then one child needed feeding and the dog needed walking.
And another child needed slapping left,
Yeah.
right and centre.
Yeah.
I felt exhausted for you.
Thank you.
I really did.
Thank you. I cried
And
in front of a
I'm
client.
not surprised. I'm not surprised. It was such a heavy load. And the difference between you and Adam was Adam gave himself permission to stop and you didn't. Now, did your daughter's skiing clothes need to be unloaded and washed and put back in the cupboard, all ironed and cleaned that day?
Yes. And did she need a home cooked meal whilst I had two clients in the salon?
You
No.
know the answer.
She could have done with a peanut butter
Yes.
sandwich
Of course she
and it would
could.
have been just fine.
So the reason that your anger goes towards Adam
Yes.
is because he gives himself permission
Yes.
to do the thing that you don't give yourself permission to do.
You're absolutely right.
It's
And
just
it's hard
like
to hear.
Abby and Glennon.
Yes. It's hard to hear that.
Yeah.
I know it is because it's very easy to go, how can you lie in bed when I'm running around like a
Yeah.
headless chicken? Look at me. And also for him not to notice that you're struggling. That's the other difficult
Yeah.
thing. But I guess because you don't say, hey, I'm struggling. Do you see what I mean?
No, I don't. I just lash out.
Get on with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I get on with
Yes.
it and lash out.
Yes.
Yes.
Whereas
Just
if you were able to say, actually, I'm struggling today, he might be able to meet you in that place. Because he's
Thanks,
not having
Kate.
to be defensive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We all do it, Nicole.
I know.
It was a lovely example. We all do it. We all do it. But the thing about not feeling self-pity, that's part of that. Because I agree, I hate self-pity. My mum was a bag of self-pity, and I find it repulsive in other people, and therefore I don't allow
But then
it in
don't you have
myself.
that in your patients?
No. Sometimes, but I call it out. I'm
Good.
very challenging as a
Good.
therapist.
That's
as you
good.
can tell.
That's good. No, because I think like a lot of people that I know that go through therapy, I think a lot of therapists
Yes.
do encourage the self-pity. And
I can't bear the
stand
whole,
that.
it was all your parents' fault, let's just sit and blame them. Of course, it's worth looking at the impact that our parents' way of parenting has had on us. But at some point, you have to go, okay, what am I going to do with this?
Yes.
I'm an adult now. I have to
you.
take responsibility for my actions.
I can't just keep looking at it and finding out where it's coming from. I actually need to do something with it.
And there are clients who come regularly, week in, week out for years, and you think, why isn't anything changing? And it's because they want to put the blame on the external and not think, how can I be different? What am I bringing to the table?
Yeah. It's hard.
It
It's
is
hard to look at that.
It is hard, but it's the greatest way to change.
Absolutely. It's
You
the
can't
only
change
way to
anybody
change.
else. You can't change the external. You can only change your own responses to it.
It's the only way to change. So the listeners had a lot to say about active
Yeah.
listening, and there's something I want to ask you, Kate,
Yeah.
actually. One of them asked a very interesting question. Juez says it takes a lot of practice and can be challenging. Claire says it is the most important yet neglected aspect of effective communication. Andrea says it takes more effort and intention. Sometimes I don't have the capacity for it. I agree with you, Andrea.
But also less because you don't have to fix.
Nice. Did you hear that, Andrea? Lizzie says active listening is a crucial skill and much underrated. Most people listen to respond.
Yeah,
they
that's
do.
true.
Izzy says there's nothing worse when talking to someone and they make it about them and they half listen. I agree. Jacqueline says a colleague told me that you can always tell who isn't active listening during conversation because instead of taking in what you're saying, they're just constantly thinking about what to say next, which is my problem, Jacqueline says. I feel like it's my responsibility to fill in silences and say something interesting. I'm trying to get better at active listening.
Yeah.
Rescuer.
Tough.
Rescuer. Did you hear that, Jacqueline?
You're a rescuer, Jacqueline.
Don't be hard on yourself, Jacqueline. It's because something about you needing to fill the gap and making everybody else feel comfortable. But just be aware that maybe other people are comfortable with the silence and you don't have to jump in to rescue.
Oh, I'm thinking about that sister circle where I was like, it's silent. Okay, it's fine. I'll have to speak now because now it's weird that I'm not. That. Ugh.
Did you like that?
I did not enjoy that.
Lindy
Yeah.
says, and I think this is such an interesting question, how do you get men to actively listen? I'm not being sexist, but they usually just try to solve.
I was about to ask Kate this. I was about to say, I often feel with men that when they are presented with a problem, they immediately
Yeah.
Are you listening, James?
They immediately feel the urge to fix it. And as a woman, when you are airing a problem, and I can say this because I am one, often what you actually just...
Are a problem or are a woman?
Both. What you actually just want is to air it, to be heard. And it doesn't necessarily need to be fixed. And often if I tell Ollie a problem, I'd sometimes just need him to say,
Oh, that's hard.
that's difficult.
Yeah.
Or is that making you feel upset? I don't need the practical solution. But I know when he presents me with a problem, he wants the solution. He's only airing it to me because
That's so true.
he's trying to figure out the best way around it and he's asking me for my advice. So I will supply it. And so in return, I think he does the same for me, but that's not always what I want.
It's different love languages, isn't it?
So yes, Lindy, how do you get men to actively listen without fixing?
Well, I think it's very common for men to put on their Mr. Fix-It belt whenever, even if it's a problem that's nothing to do with them. I do think it's primal. I think it goes back to they are doers and we are beers. And of course, I'm massively generalising. So there is a need to, go out, kill bear, bring back food and clothing. But I also think that there is something about, am I blamed for this and therefore can I help?
Yes.
And therefore I'm not at fault.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
If she's in a bad mood, is it because of me? And therefore I have to do everything and spin lots of plates and juggle and breathe fire in order to make that mood
Go away.
So I think the best way is to say, I want to talk to you about something that happened at work, but I don't need you to offer a solution. I really just need you to listen, because there isn't really a solution, and that there's certainly, I don't think there's anything that I can do about it, but I just need to vent.
Asking for what you want.
Yes.
Beautiful.
I have this in labours a lot, and I discuss it before the labour happens in our meetings. And I say, you know, when women are in labour, a lot of the time they want to complain. I'm hot, I'm cold, I feel sick, I'm tired, I don't want to do this anymore. All sorts of things come out, and their partner's response is to try and fix it. Let's go to hospital. You need to have an epidural. I said, you know, you can't.
I'll get you some ice chips.
Yeah, you can't fix a labour. A labour just takes time and patience. And so I try and show them by example how not to fix, just to be. And they do find that difficult, but then that's why I'm there.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So
To model that.
yes, precisely.
Well, and to do that.
Yeah. I think we'll cut to a break and then we'll be back with our challenge of the week.
You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
The Self-Care Club Challenge of the Week.
So, for challenge of the week, you, listeners, are going to choose one conversation today where you are going to actively listen to someone. Kate, can you just give them a few tips again in how to actively listen?
Make sure there are no distractions, and that you are in a position where you can give absolute focus to that person that you are listening to. So no phones, no TV. You haven't got somebody coming round to, I don't know, clean the house or pop in. You know that for the next however long, 20 minutes, you can just dedicate yourself to them. Listen to what they're not saying as well as they are saying. Watch their body language. Try to focus on them. Make sure your body language is engaged with theirs. And try not to fix. You don't need to give your examples of when that's happened to you. Give encouraging words such as, go on. And what did that feel like? I know that can sound really trite, but if it comes from an authentic place, actually it can lead the conversation on. Because what an active listening conversation does, instead of it staying on one level, it goes onto a deeper level. And that can only be healing for both of you.
Lovely.
Very nice.
That's a great challenge of the week. Thank
It
you,
is.
Kate. Thank you so much for being here.
Love
And
it.
listeners, let us know how you get on with that. But seriously, let us know. None of this, oh, I'm just going to do it and not tell you. We need to know. We want to know, don't we?
We need the feedback
We want the feedback so that we can actually share it.
with everybody else.
Yes.
Yes.
So, what have you been doing for your own self-care, Laura Mishkon?
This week.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a bit of a week. I've had 2 births in 4 days. That's a lot of babies.
That's not self-care.
Well,
That's
no,
working.
But it's my work. No, I'm
That's
just
not self-care.
Yeah, but what I'm going to tell you is
Yeah.
I did that. I was very tired.
Yeah.
And then the next day,
Yeah.
I went to get my nails done.
Oh, good.
Okay, now that feels very trivial.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, you went to get your nails done, whatever. But I am using my hands, my magical hands,
Your magical, mystical hands.
for many, many hours, all the hours, right, during that birth. They are like, it's worn out. So it's very nice to have that little bit of something that's just for me. Okay, and then I was finishing my book that very same night, Bella Mackie, How to Kill Your Family. Have you read that? Great book, fiction, not actually like a manual. Okay, and there was this little sentence.
No one was wondering
Okay,
that.
But there was this little sentence in the book, and I just thought, yes, how apt, and I get it. Okay, and this is what she said. The manicurist painted my nails a deep red, the same colour my sister was having applied. There's nothing frivolous about these small rituals that women all around the world indulge in. They're a brief escape from the labour that we take on, a tiny respite from a society which forces us to carry the emotional labour and carve out a professional path whilst showing that we're not too emotional. Nail varnish is not vapid. It's a lacquer, a protective layer.
Gorgeous.
I just thought, yes, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Something for myself.
I love it.
Yeah. My citrine pendant finally arrived.
And?
I'm wearing it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm wearing it.
Love it.
I mean,
It's not very yellow.
Actually love it.
It's like clear, though.
It's very pale. I have to say, I'm not loving it. But it's come
Oh.
from Denmark.
I like the fact that it's pale and
I
not
thought
too
it was going to be yellow.
Okay. Well,
Like,
anyway.
like a canary yellow.
Well, it's not.
I'm
But it's
sorry.
here and I'm wearing it. So I'm reaping all the benefits of it.
Okay.
And the dog is still sleeping on his crystals with mixed effects, I have to say. Some days we whittle and some days we don't. So that's how that's going. Other than that, it's MasterChef finals week. Are you watching that, Kate?
Yes, but I'm behind, so no spoilers.
No spoilers. I'm just saying Team Pookie. I love her. I think she's
oh
a
my
genius.
God, we love Pookie.
Literally no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, well, anyway, that. And 2 books I'm reading. One, as just mentioned, How to Kill Your Family, Bella Mackie, that I've just finished, and Magpie by Elizabeth Day. That's all my self-care recommendations for the week.
Lovely.
And you, Nicole Goodman.
You will be pleased to know
Yeah.
that because I am in competition mode for
Oh,
the
yes,
gym.
we're still in this. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Is it
okay,
ending anytime?
I am now starting to take my training easier
Oh. Why? If you're in competition mode, are you taking it easier?
because my trainer absolutely screamed at all of us, telling us that we're all overtraining and our bodies were just getting injured and broken and everything else. He goes, you train smart and you train less. So I'm training less. And I'm going to put that in my self-care.
Okay.
It's difficult.
Okay. Nice.
It's difficult, but I'm much more powerful in the gym when I'm in the gym rather than limping and
Well,
my
my
back
wrist hurts
and
and my back hurts and my
yeah,
knee.
because I was overtraining.
Okay, well, I wasn't going to say that to you.
No.
You chucked me over your shoulder like one of your boulders.
You see, you needed somebody else to give you permission to slow down.
Saeed's the man.
He insisted. He insisted. But I don't like slowing down. It's boring. Like I'm not going to the gym all day today. It's boring.
What's boring?
Not going.
Because
I don't get to see my friends. I don't get that rush of endorphins. Don't get to put on my nice gym gear.
Go home and have sex instead. I'm just going to prescribe that. Put on your gym gear and go home and do that.
It's bank holiday. Am I going to go have sex? My kids are around. Like, when am I supposed to have sex?
I don't know. Hide upstairs and put them somewhere else.
The kids?
Yeah.
She's 14. Where do you want me to put her? I can't put her in a baby seat.
Put her in the cot.
Put her in her... Yeah, put her in the circle of neglect.
No, there's a radar where as soon as that starts happening, the kids sniff you out. Don't
And the
they?
dog now.
Yeah.
And the dog.
Yeah, the dog.
Adam doesn't like the dog in the room, which is fair enough. Anyway, so that's been my self-care.
Okay.
Thought you'd be quite impressed with that.
I'm happy if you're happy.
Well, I'm
Can
not.
I leave it there?
Yes. Okay.
right.
Right. What are we doing on next week's show?
Okay, next week's a big show.
It is.
It is another week of our month-long May mental challenges, and we are practicing radical acceptance.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
radical.
It's radical.
And it's acceptance.
Yes.
And it's together.
Yes.
Brace
And we're going to do it for a
yourselves.
whole week. Radical acceptance.
God help us.
We are going to be back every other day for the clinic, so
Yep.
please keep your questions coming in for that. Hello at theselfcareclub.co.uk or come and DM us on Instagram at selfcareclubpod. You can also leave a voice note. We like those. And we will be back tomorrow.
See you then. Bye-bye.